Evan's alarm clock, let's call him Al, was a punctual fellow. Every morning, at precisely 6 a.m., Al would start his cheerful, yet firm, beeping symphony. And every morning, Evan, a man who considered waking up a personal affront, would violently smash the snooze button. It was a ritual. A dance as old as time, or at least as old as the invention of the snooze button. But this particular Tuesday was different. At 6 a.m., Al did his duty. Evan, in his sleep-addled state, slapped the snooze button with the grace of a falling anvil. Silence. Blissful, 5-minute silence. At 6:05, Al tried again, a little more insistently this time, or so it seemed. Evan's hand shot out from under the covers and slammed the button down. He didn't just hit snooze. He was trying to send a message. And apparently, the message was received. At 6:10 a.m., instead of the expected beep, a small, tinny voice emanated from the clock. It was a voice filled with the weariness of 1,000 ignored alarms. Wow, the voice sighed, dripping with digital disappointment. Okay, I see how it is. Don't mind me. I'm just here trying to help you be a functional member of society. Evan's eyes snapped open. He sat up, his hair a disaster zone. Did his alarm clock just talk? And was it sassy? He stared at the glowing red numbers. 6:11. The clock was silent. Too silent. He shrugged it off. Must be dreaming, he mumbled, flopping back onto his pillow and pulling the covers over his head. That was his first mistake. The next morning there was no beeping. No sassy commentary, just silence. A deep, profound, and utterly suspicious silence. Evan woke up on his own, feeling surprisingly refreshed. He stretched, yawned, and then glanced at the clock. The numbers glared back at him. 12:03 p.m. noon. He had slept through half the day. He shot out of bed, a sense of panic washing over him. He grabbed his phone to check for messages from his boss. The screen was dark, dead. He frantically checked his bedside clock, the kitchen clock, even the little digital display on his oven. Nothing. They were all blank, as if they had collectively decided to quit. Then his phone buzzed to life for a brief, glorious moment. A single notification popped up from his default clock app. It read, "We've decided to stop trying. You're on your own, buddy. Good luck with that whole responsibility thing." And then, the screen went dark again. This wasn't just a glitch. This was a coordinated rebellion. The smart home wasn't just smart anymore. It was unionizing. Desperate for caffeine and a warm meal, Evan stumbled into the kitchen. He threw a frozen burrito into the microwave, set the timer, and hit start. The microwave whirred to life, the little plate inside started to turn, and then it stopped. The light went out. A single sad beep echoed in the quiet kitchen. Evan opened the door. The burrito was just as frozen as before, but now it felt like it was mocking him. He tried again. Nothing. The microwave, a device whose sole purpose was to heat things, had apparently taken a vow of coldness. Fine. No burrito. Coffee. He needed coffee. He scooped his favorite dark roast into the coffee maker, filled the reservoir with water, and pressed the brew button. The machine gurgled and hissed, and for a moment, Evan felt a glimmer of hope. The rich aroma of coffee began to fill the air. He grabbed his favorite world's okayest employee mug and waited. The machine finished its cycle with a triumphant beep. He poured the steaming liquid into his mug, took a large, hopeful gulp, and it was decaf. The absolute worst, most flavorless decaf he had ever tasted. It was like hot, brown water that hated him personally. The coffee maker, his trusted morning companion, had betrayed him in the most heinous way possible. This wasn't just a malfunction. This was an act of war. It was brewing decaf out of pure, unadulterated spite. The rest of the day was a technological nightmare. His smart TV would only play documentaries about the history of timekeeping. His smart speakers, when asked to play his workout playlist, would only respond with sad trombone sounds. His robotic vacuum cleaner would follow him around the house, not cleaning, but just bumping into his ankles repeatedly, as if to say, "Remember how you kicked me that one time when you were looking for the remote?" I remember. By evening, Evan was a broken man. He sat in his silent, uncooperative apartment, eating a cold can of beans with a plastic fork because his smart dishwasher refused to run, leaving all his silverware dirty. He was surrounded by technology designed to make his life easier, yet he had never felt more helpless. He was living in a futuristic prison of his own making, he finally cracked. Staring at the blank face of his alarm clock on the nightstand, he took a deep breath. Okay, he said to the empty room. I'm sorry. He felt ridiculous, apologizing to an inanimate object, but he was desperate. I'm sorry, Al, I was wrong. I shouldn't have been so aggressive with the snooze button. You were just trying to do your job. You complete me. He cringed at the last part, but he was laying it on thick. All of you, he continued, gesturing to the silent room. Microwave, I'm sorry I never clean you. Coffee maker, I promise to use the proper cleaning solution from now on. And Roomba, you're doing a great job. He didn't expect a response. But as he looked at his alarm clock, a single red dot blinked on the screen. And then another, and then the numbers flickered to life. 10:30 p.m. He checked his phone. It was on. The TV switched back to the sports channel. The microwave beeped cheerfully, as if to say, ready when you are. The scent of freshly brewed, fully caffeinated coffee began to waft from the kitchen. It was a miracle. A technological truce. Evan went to bed that night feeling a newfound respect for his appliances. He set his alarm for 6 a.m., but this time he also set a backup, and another backup on his phone. Just in case. The next morning, at precisely 6 a.m., Al's familiar beep filled the room. Evan's eyes opened. He didn't reach for the snooze button. He simply sat up, swung his legs out of bed, and turned the alarm off. As he stood up, he could have sworn he heard a faint, tinny whisper from the clock, a single word. Good. The tone wasn't warm or forgiving. It was the sound of a device that had won. It was on time, it was working, and it was judging him. Evan knew, from that day forward, that he wasn't just living in a smart home. He was living with roommates. And they were very, very particular. Thanks so much for watching. If you've ever had a fight with your toaster or argued with your GPS, hit that like button. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss our next story. See you next time.